Hey guys, Scott here, and today we're going to talk about Michael Myers in another rework series. It's been a while since I've done one of these, and I decided to address Myers this time because he is one of the most outdated killers in the game. When he came out, very cool, but the game has changed quite a bit since then, and I think he needs a couple of changes to bring him into 2021. Now, when I do these whole rework things, I try to keep the spirit of the killer the same way. In fact, I try to keep the power almost the same way. Just A, to make it realistic for behavior to ever think about even doing anything like this, and B, because I don't really want to make a new killer. I just want to rework the killers that already exist. That's why it's the rework series and not the new killer series. So, with that being said, there's a couple of things that Myers needs addressing. First off, let's look at his stalking speed. Right now, he's got this curve on his stalking speed. The further the survivor is away, the longer it takes to stalk that person. And the closer they are, the quicker it is. Now, to me, this makes no sense with Myers. Because think about, what does Myers do? He doesn't walk up to Lori and stalk her from this far away. He sits behind a bush 500 feet away and looks at her through her window really far away. That's when he's stalking, because that's actual stalking. So I think in the spirit of keeping him thematic, we should reverse the speed curve. When you're further away, you should be able to get from tier 2 to tier 3 in like 2-3 seconds, like very, very fast. And when they're right up in your face, it should be slower. However, it shouldn't be as slow as distant stalking is now. Because at the end of the day, sometimes you'll get an indoor map or sometimes it's a very claustrophobic area and you just can't distant stalk people. So it shouldn't be like, you can't stalk them close range. It'll just be, it's not as effective as it is now, but it's still something you can do. It just might take you a few more seconds. However, the distant stalking would be significantly buffed to the point where, like I said, you can go from tier 1 to tier 2 and tier 2 to tier 3 in just a couple of seconds, like really, really fast. Because it's harder to do that. It's harder to actually play Myers and line up an area where you can see them and they're unaware of you. I think that actually is something you should be rewarded for heavily, and it's super thematic with the killer too. So, step one, reverse the speed curves, but don't penalize close range stalking as much, because sometimes you still have to do it. So overall, it should just be a net buff to his stalking, with the, this stalking a little bit worse than it currently is, because this is not stalking. This is just, I don't know. I never really find it fun when, I'm looping a Myers at a TL wall or something like that, and he goes around the corner, stalks me a bit, goes around the corner, stalks me a bit, goes around the corner, stalks me a bit, and then he tier 3s and one-shots me. It's like, that's not Myers. Like, he's not even stalking me. That doesn't fit the theme at all. But I accept that sometimes this is a video game. You have to do that. So completely disallowing that's not a good idea either. It should just be a little bit worse. And his, actual thematic stalking should be significantly better. Next, let's go over his whole stalking cap thing. I don't think he needs a stalk cap. However, I think we can work this into a mechanic. So right now, once you stalk somebody to their maximum, they glow red and you can't charge your power anymore. Myers, I think, is the only killer in the game that can actually run out of his power during the match, which is weird and outdated in my opinion. Kind of like when Trapper, you could, destroy his traps and remove his power. Myers is now the last relic in the game where you can not have him have a power anymore. Granted, it means he's got a lot of tier 3s, but still. So what I would do is make it so you can stalk people that are fully stalked. They will still be bright red. You can stalk them. However, it will stalk at half the current rate. It will be a lot slower than it currently is. This is so if you do get into that late game, it still has a point. However, I do think there should be some type of reward for stalking somebody that is like, because Myers' whole thing is he stalks Lori, and as he stalks Lori, he gains more and more information about her, where, to like jump her and things like that. So it would make sense to get some type of benefit with that, right? So my proposal is once you've stalked somebody fully, now when you trigger tier 3, when you go from tier 2 to tier 3, all of the max stalked survivors are revealed on the map for 2 or 3 seconds. This can be thematic because once you've stalked them so much, their patterns, their movesets, where they're going to be and things like that. So thematically, it makes sense and also gives him a good gameplay mechanic where he can get map control by having knowledge of where people are. And I think that would be a good way to address him gaining the knowledge from stalking somebody from such a long amount of time. I think that would just make it so it's a net buff no matter what, because the fact that you can run out of your power is dumb. But yeah, I think that would be very, very cool. Next is something that we need to address, the fact that Myers is like, he's meant to be like this unstoppable source of evil. Like Myers has been shot, stabbed, exploded. Like he has had all manner of things done to him, and he doesn't ever stop. And the whole lore is that he's the embodiment of evil, so he can't be stopped. And I think we should embrace that a bit more because it's kind of lame when he gets into tier 3, the pinnacle of his evil, and then just, here's some wood. It's like, ah, darn. So I think we can't make it overpowered because tier 3 is a powerful and scary thing. To be able to one-shot anybody with a basic lunge attack and have a longer lunge and faster vaulting is good. But I think we can embrace that unstoppable aspect a bit more by giving him built-in enduring and brutal strength when he's in tier 3. These obviously would not stack with the actual perks themselves. It wouldn't be so overbearing that you can't do anything against him. You can still loop him just fine. It would just allow him to have that thematic unstoppable kind of mindset a bit more by making him not as phased by pallets and being able to break them a bit faster. You can make like different animations for it too. It doesn't have to be exactly the same as the perks, but the effects of enduring and brutal strength, maybe not the numbers are exactly the same, but just something like that to give that whole unstoppable kind of aspect to his kit. I think that would make tier 3 a lot more exciting. And the thing is, it's very easy to get one down with tier 3 because you go from tier 2 to tier 3, it's free down basically because as long as there's no line of sight, you basically have no tear radius. You jump up on them, go from tier 2 to tier 3, boom, they're dead. But chaining together multiple downs is not so easy unless you have like Infectious Fright and they're in the same area. Now, a killer like Oni can do it because with Infectious Fright, he can see them and then Demon Rush to them in 4 seconds before they can get anywhere. Myers just has to sort of waddle everywhere, and it's still scary, but as long as people spread out, it's really hard to chain multiple downs. So hopefully this will help him when he does get his tier 3 power. To have a bit more of an impact in the actual 1v1 chase, of which he doesn't really have that much other than a bit faster vault and a slightly longer lunge. So I think that would be something that could be tinkered with. The numbers can be modified. Doesn't have to be as strong as Enduring. Could be stronger. Those are all things that can be modified. It's just the idea of making him more unstoppable in the actual 1v1 chase while still making him fair that you can actually stop him. It's more about the feel of it. And finally, basically, all of these things have been net buffs, so I do want to suggest one nerf to Myers, which seems weird because he's not very good. But the worst thing about Myers, in my opinion, going against him, is the fact that you get punished for your teammates doing badly, basically. Like, how many times you've been working on a gen, and then Myers is stalking your teammate who's just teabagging in an open field. Myers ignores that guy, walks up to you on the gen, you can't hear him, tier 3, you just go down. It feels like shit every time. It's just a bad feeling. And that is his strength, so we can't remove that from his kit, because that is what makes him very scary, the fact that he can appear and just one-shot you immediately. But it also feels like shit, too. So I would suggest that we have an indicator for when he is about to hit tier 3. Now, you're going to know it's Myers already, because he goes from tier 1 to tier 2, and you're going to hear the music, so it's not like it reveals anything about the killer. It's just something to let you know that your teammates, your solo queue teammates, have fed him close to Evil Within 3. At the end of the day, no matter what, if you don't have line of sight to where he's coming from, even if you know that he's almost Evil Within 3, he's still going to kill you before you can respond, really. If he's got, like, Monitor Abuse or something, or Dead Rabbit, he's still going to down you before you can do anything about it, because it's just, you can't, it's like a 1-second reaction time he's going to be on you. So, it's not going to change too much, but it'll at least give solo queue players an idea that your teammates have been feeding him Evil Within, so you might be a bit more cautious. You might, pan around a bit more. At the end of the day, you should always be playing against Myers as if he's got tier 3 about ready to come. So it shouldn't really change how you play against them. It should just help in the whole solo queue aspect of bad teammates just feeding him Evil Within, so at least you kind of know. The funny thing is, this actually used to be in the game. When he first came out, there was actually this music where you could actually hear him. Is this. This was actually in the game when he first came out. And I think that would be something they should just re-add that. Because it would help in the whole solo queue aspect, but it wouldn't really change the fact that you still don't know when he's coming. You'll just know that he has his power ready. I think it's thematic, it's cool. It lets you know someone's about to get fucked, but you don't know who, you don't know where. I don't see a reason to not add that back into the game. It's just, it just sounds awesome too. It's just like, it's creepy. So yeah, I think those are the main changes that I would make. Like I said, I still wanted to keep relatively the same power. There's a couple of other things I thought about, like, him being able to grab people through breakable walls and stuff like that. There's a lot of other things that require a lot more effort that I don't see them ever doing, so I'm not even going to bother suggesting them. I'm just trying to refine his already existing mechanics into 2021 for Dead by Daylight, because the game's a bit different now compared to when he came out. There could also be certain things for the obsession too, like he just built in can see the obsession when he goes from tier 2 to tier 3. There's a couple of little changes there that you can make as well to be more thematic, but I just wanted to talk about those 4 main changes. And yeah, curious to hear what you guys think. That's it. Thanks for watching. See you next time.